Like I've been asked, how could I do puzzles? Like, how to start, how to do them, how many do I need to do a day? So that video would explain. I would say use chess.com. I believe this site have a lot of opportunities for learning purposes, a lot of events. I would just recommend chess.com for puzzles as well. And if you don't have a subscription, you may consider doing so, because if you do that, you get unlimited access for puzzles. I would recommend you use survival mode here. I would completely disagree with any quick, like 3-minute, 5-minute puzzle rush is not very good. This is designed for advanced players. It's not designed for people learning. So keep an eye on this survival mode, because you are not limited to time control here. You could take actually a couple days to to solve the puzzles. So use this option. And I would recommend for people like having troubles, or let's say you're learning the game from scratch, or you are trying to improve your tactics, is to do the first 10 as a starting point. If you're struggling to do the first 10, I would say rinse and repeat, meaning that you do the first 10, you quit, you start over, and keep doing this for as many as you can per day and every day. The goal is actually every day. Maybe down the road, once you practice and you get the hang of doing tactics, the basic tactics, then you don't need to do every day. Like you may be able to do like twice a week, for example. So as you try to learn and improve quickly, you probably need to do every day for some time at least. So, our first example here, how could I solve this? And you do need to scan, and I recommend people to look deep enough. Don't just make one move. There's a lot of people have a bad habit here in general. Like they are looking for their move. Like they feel like their move is much more important, and they don't want to even check their opponents. You need to check deep enough. So that would help you train that you checking your own moves, and you checking your opponent's move as well. So this one is actually incredibly easy, so you don't really have to you really don't have to do much. So as bishop takes rook is actually mate, because the king is being stuck here. Because this is a good start, right? So here you might feel like there's overwhelming pieces here. What could I do? I could see this one-way checkmate. And if you're having trouble with this one, you do need to think about this. Like I would say, if you're stuck here, spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes till you see everything. The idea is actually scanning the entire board. So you could see that white has actually and you need to count the pieces. And I also recommend to look the move before. And this seems to be a really important thing to do. Because if you could tell that this knight d1 is being played, right? The knight actually went back. That may give you some hint of what you need to do. Precisely what you need to do. Especially in the first 10 puzzles. So this is actually a big problem, this specific move. So if you don't see the next move here for black, then rinse and repeat. Continue doing puzzles over and over and again. It doesn't have to be like for one day. Like you could, I'm just saying like months ahead, like 6 months, practice over and over again. So here I could see this mate in one. Like its only move is queen f1. If you don't see queen f1, obviously you need to do more practice. So queen f1 is actually the problem with knight c3. Then going back, it actually blocked the rook. So the rook can't defend anymore. So queen f1 is made. And also, if you do a puzzle that, if it ended so early, because sometimes puzzle rush end the puzzles early, meaning if the puzzle is actually this, there's like 2 ways to checkmate, for example, it would end, meaning that, it would not do anything. It would just give you like check mark. If that's the case, I would recommend you go back and check the puzzle. If you don't know what happened, like if you're kind of confused about it, I would say go back and check why it ended so early. So here, this is also one move thing. Unfortunately, this have nothing to do with lines. It's just one move. Usually you need to scan this, like this bishop is active. And also, as I said before, you need to check the move before, and it seems to be key. Some people have this habit, they don't really check the previous move. These just like they're gonna start here. Like I think f3. Yeah, they're gonna start with f3 being played here. They may not see the move before. You could tell like why this is really bad. The problem is queen takes g3 and it's actually checkmate with the help of the bishop at a6. So the king can't move here because of the bishop, and also can't move here because of the bishop. So queen takes g3. So this one, usually when you see this in general, like in chess, like the king being stuck here, there's no defenses at the back. Like you can see there's no defense at the back, and the king is actually, the pawns are not moving here to give the king some room here. It's mostly mates in the back rank, and this is actually one example of this, rook f1, and there's no way to defend it. There's no piece. Even if the queen is here, you still check, and then the queen goes back, and it's rook d1. So, as I said before, scam the moving in here. He took a knight. So technically, does he have pieces here? More pieces? Yeah. So if he has more pieces, you need to look for potential mates or grabbing, like a queen, for example, or rook. In a situation like this, you're looking for something really fast. I mean, white is dominating here, but unfortunately, by him taking here, he made a big mistake. And here, this queen takes h2 mate. The king can't move here. So this is one move mate. So in this kind of puzzles, you don't really need to do any kind of line. So I mean, it's mate in one. It's, you know, it makes your life easier. But there are puzzles that you probably need to do, like mate in 2 or mate in 3 or different ways of winning. So this is also mate on g2, right? There's no way you can defend this, and you have to look. So he had to basically go back. So, and he took a pawn here. So you usually have to like scan the board and then checkmate. This is common mate here, especially. You could see the move here, there's a check, and then he moved here, and you could tell the rooks are in this dominating back rank, the 7th rank here, and you could tell there's a mate. People may actually do the mistake of playing the other rook at c2 here, and then they may give king b1. You need to look for ways to mate, like the king is stuck here at c1, and obviously if you play here, it's checkmate. This is maybe hard to see, like this one, it's also mate. Usually this bishop is dominating here and the king is stuck on g1. You would say, well, I mean black doesn't have any pieces here, but as a matter of fact, he's winning, or this is already over. So the previous move is bishop. I would say like bishop takes f4 or something, like a piece traded here, and then he took here. He probably need to take here. So even though rook takes e2 is there, this is actually okay for white to allow. But when he takes like this, there's a problem of rook g7, and you need to see that. If it takes you 10 minutes to see it, then you spend the 10 minutes, right? So rook here, and it's actually mate because the king can't move here because of the bishop. But he could only, so you have to see the entire combination, meaning this doesn't mate in one, but there's bishop g4. There are people that may do like, okay, so rook here, bishop g4, and knight takes g4. I mean, that wouldn't be mate. So you need to be precise, meaning that you check here, I continue checkmating. So you need to like look over the entire line. So the entire line is here, here, it takes on g4. And it ended so fast. Here, most people may do this, like thinking that, you know, white must have, like, he played here so he could take. Like you could tell from here that maybe this is an obvious idea. I mean, it was really attacked here, right? But this is actually really bad. It doesn't have to be like queen takes. And sometimes if you have a combination of two ways to take, you need to concentrate on which one is best. There's two ways you could take a pawn, not just one way. You could take here with Shep, which is actually like it's not so bad here, but there's actually one that is much more strong. I mean, strongest, in my own opinion, is I don't know if it's an opinion, it's more like fact. Is queen takes f7, and it's actually made because it was the help of c4. So sometimes if you have a choice of trading, check which one makes more Like what, if you sometimes you may have like a trade that may lead you to win like a queen, for example, or versus taking a rook. So obviously take the better piece. So in this specific example here, it's about you giving a checkmate. You take one pawn, one is just to take a pawn. The other ways you take a pawn with checkmate. So queen takes f7 is mate. So this one is interesting. Knight f5. So this may be tough for people here, for people starting out, of course. You do need to check all possibilities here. So I could see this with the help of the bishop. Like I could see the pieces lining up this way, and you do need to check the previous move, and it gives you indication here. Once you take, it does open up for this. So you could take on g2. Now it ended so early here, right? This is one example that you need to go back. So going back, and you need to figure out why it ended. Like if you know why, it's okay, but what if you don't? Like you said, oh, it's check and it's not mate. So the idea is very simple, is you take on g2, he goes here, it's actually mate. And you need to see the entire thing. And that's a good example, is you do have to check here. And then there's a bishop checking. And the rook is acting as a way to stop the king from coming to g1 and g2. So how could you defend this? I mean, the only way to defend is here, to sack the entire rook. So people may make a mistake here. They may take here, they may take here. They feel like they're up on material. Again, we talk about like which way to take. Just like in the previous example that we had, queen takes e5, queen takes f7 pawn. It's a trade. When you're dealing with a trade here, you need to look at which one is more precise, which one is more effective. I would say which one is more effective is the right word for that. So the rook takes here, they all look good, but there's one that makes most sense, and it will probably end the game in right away here. And it's bishop takes f3 because it's mate. So if you have a chance for mate, just take mate, and that would do it. So this is going to be the last example here, and then maybe this is okay, but we'll try one more. So the last move here. So usually when you're looking at a king in the corner like this, like a king on h6 here, or king on the middle of the board, you're looking for possible mates. I mean here, especially when you're dealing with puzzles and tactics in general, when you look at this kind of stuff here, the king is stuck on h6, you look for mates, and you do have a mate. Because bishop b6 is kind of terrible here, of course. How could you mate? You probably need to check, to find a way to check. And there's only one way to really check. I mean, there are two ways. You could sack here, but obviously this is really bad. There's this one, right? So this check, it's actually checkmate because the king is stuck on e6, and the help was the knight on a5. And actually the bishop, sitting here is also blocking, but the knight is also, attacking on this square. So it's mate. So b5 here would simply be mate. This one is also made, but we'll probably end here. So the idea here, if you're able to get the first 10 consistently, meaning, at any time you do any 10 in a row, you're able to get it, then you could do 15, and then you could try 20. If you're starting to struggle, let's say you can't do 15, then you could do another 15. So meaning here, if you're having trouble here, I would say end the puzzle, play again. And you could do this multiple times per day, or a couple times like in different days. So you could do here 5, 10, 15, but all you're doing is you quit and you start over. You quit and start over. The reason is you don't want to do like complicated puzzles because you're not really doing the easy ones first. You don't want to you want to get the easy puzzles in a way that you train for that. And then once you get the hang of the easy puzzles, then you could try 20, 30, 40, and so on. How long it's going to take you? It could take you weeks, months. It could take you 1 year doing this, believe it or not. But there are people once you do training, it's not going to take you long. I would recommend doing this every day. Before you go to work, in the morning, at night, just practice. And if you only could do 10, do 10. But do 10, and if you're able to do more per day, that's fine. You could do like 20, so 10, 20 in a row. The idea is doing it every day, and once you do it every day for a lot of time, for let's say 6 months, you're probably gonna get, it becomes easier as you do practice as you go along. And that would be it, folks. So hopefully this video would be helpful for some of you, and stay tuned for more videos in the future. Take care, folks.